Hello guys, kamusta? Good evening kasi gabi na, 9:42 ng gabi, ano. Sorry ngayon lang ako gumawa ng aking video lecture dahil sa pandemic, ano. So ito na yung setup ko siguro sa paggawa ko ng lecture ko sa inyo, ano, sa Engineering Economics. So, pangalawang beses ko na itong ituro, ano. So, yun, siguro sa setup natin wala na tayong attendance. Sa akin na lang, magbigay na lang ako ng siguro sa Facebook, sa Messenger, mag-send ako ng assignments, quiz, o kaya dun sa Google Classroom natin, ano, dun na lang ako magche-check. So, yun, walang masyadong signal siguro, sa Messenger na lang muna. Hindi ko naman kayo nire-require na mag-pass ben, ng quizzes, assignment, gano'n, on time. Basta makumpleto niyo siguro lahat ng papagawa ko. Saka, pati sa exam na siguro, ano, pasado na. Yun, so engineering economics na yung subject natin. Yun na, wala nang face-to-face siguro. Malalapit lang siguro, pwede pumunta sa school, mag-submit ng kanilang ano, assignment, quiz, ganun. Pero pag malayo, Google Classroom na lang o kaya Facebook, Messenger, ano. So, yun, umpisa natin. So, engineering economy, ano, yung lecture natin. First introduction natin muna, chapter 1. So makikita nyo doon sa drawing na binigay ko, sabi nga nila, pag nag-ipon ka, nagtanim ka, in the future, meron kang anihin, meron kang makukuha. No? So, what is engineering economy? Yan. So, engineering economy is the discipline concerned with the economic aspects of engineering and involves the systematic evaluation of the cost and benefits of proposed technical and business projects and ventures. So, sa atin, as engineers siguro in the future, pag mayroon tayong mga project, gagawa tayo ng mga project proposal, gano'n. Kasi sa mga project proposal, kailangan nilang makita yung cost, yung benefits. Ano ba yung benefit ko dito sa project na to para mag-invest ako, gano'n. Ano ba yung cost? Magkano bang kailangan? So, yan, ano. So, kailangan natin ng engineering economics, ano. Parang tayong mag-solve. Ano ba yung mga different types of cost na kailangan. Meron din tayong marunong mag-solve ng mga demand, gano'n, price. So, the principles and methodology of engineering economy are integral part of the daily management and operation of private sector companies and corporations, regulated public utilities, government units or agencies, and non-profit organizations. So, yun. Pag nagtrabaho na tayo, siguro someday, tatanungin tayo, marunong ka magawa ng project proposal. So, yun, ano, dapat marunong tayo. So, it involves in the formulating, estimating, and evaluating the expected economic outcomes of alternatives designed to accomplish a defined purpose. Yan. These decisions involve the fundamental elements of cash flows, of money, time, and interest. So, yun, kailangan ano, time and interest rates. So, siyempre, pag umutang ka o kaya nagpautang ka, may interest yan, ano, cash flow. Saan ko ba gagamitin yun? Yung pera, ano. So, yan. So, decisions are made routinely to choose one alternative over another by individuals in everyday life by engineers on the job. So, ito. Sa engineering economics kasi, alternative. Bibigyan tayo ng choices, alternative. So, magko-compute ka, ano bang mas magandang kukunin? Halimbawa, kung bumili ka ng traktor, yung isa mas mahal, yung isa mas mura, pero yung lifespan nung mas mahal, mas matagal. Yung mas mura, siguro, mas ma-iksi yung lifespan. So, ano ba yung bibilhin mo doon? So, sa'yo na yan, ano, meron kang alternative. Ano pa? Yung ibang alternative. Ano yun nga, lalo sa school, pag namili ka ng boarding house, mas malayo yung boarding house mo, pero mas mura, ano. Pero dito sa mas malapit, mas mahal, 1.5 gano'n. So, anong mamili ka? Mamamasahe ba ako everyday, pero mas mura yung boarding house ko? Or piliin ko yung mas malapit pero maglalakad ako? Gano'n, ano, alternative. So, by managers who supervise the activities of others. So, sa president, corporate president, ano. and by government officials who work for the public good. So most decisions involve money, capital ano. So yun, capital or capital funds. Kasi nga hindi gagalaw yung isang project kung walang pera ano. Which is usually limited in amount, limited lang ano. So the decision of where and how to invest this limited capital is motivated by a primary goal of adding value. So mag-add ka ng value in the future ano. So engineer plays a vital role in capital investment decisions based upon their ability and experience to design, analyze, and synthesize. So the factors upon which a decision is based are commonly a combination of economic and non-economic elements. So engineering economy deals with the economic factors. Ano? So marami yun. So principles. Ano ba yung mga principles? Principles of engineering economy. Ano? So develop alternatives. Kung ikaw yung magde-develop ka daw ng alternate choice. Ano? So decision. Ano? So that choice, decision is among alternatives. So the alternatives needs to be identified and then defined for the subsequent analysis. Yun nga kanina, sa ano lang, sa pagpili ng boarding house, meron kang mga choices dapat. Yung mura, yung mahal, malapit ba sa school, malapit ba sa canteen, magulo ba, tahimik, gano'n. So alternative, ano. A decision situation involves making a choice among two or more alternatives. Yun nga. Developing and defining the alternatives for detailed evaluation is important because of the resulting impact on the quality of the decision. So, in the future, kung nag-decision ka ngayon, dapat makita mo yung impact in the future. Siguro, yun nga, pag nagkamali ka ngayon ng decision, malamang, malulugi ka, no? O kaya, kakaroon ka ng factor na negative in the future, ano? So, focus on the difference, ano? So, only the difference is expected future outcomes among the alternatives are relevant to their comparison and should be considered in the decision. Ito na naman, ano? Nung namili ka ng kurso, meron ka bang choice? Dalawa, siguro tatlo, ano? Ag-eng, civil, geodetic, or ibang course, ano? So, ano ba yung difference nila, ano? Siguro inisip mo yun, ano? Doon din, no? Meron ka ng alternatives, tapos meron kang differences. Siguro, pinag-aralan mo yun, ano? So, differences in the future outcomes of the alternatives that are important. So, yun. Yun ang importante, yung differences, yung future outcomes. Ano? So, the purpose of an engineering economic analysis is to recommend a future course of action based on the differences among feasible alternatives. So, yun, ano. So, the purpose of an engineering economic analysis is to recommend a future course of action. So, yun, magre-recommend ka, ano. So, limawa, sa computation, magka-compute ka. Ano ba yung mga income ko in the future? So, yun. Ano ba yung mangyayari sa akin in the future pag pinili ko tong kurso ko na to? Ano bang mangyayari sa akin pag hindi ako nag-aral, inipon ko lahat yung mga pera na pang-aral ko? Ganun yung mga decision ba? So, use a consistent viewpoint. Ano? So, yun. The prospective outcomes of the alternatives, economic and other should be consistently developed from a defined point of view. So, meron kang point of view pag nag-aral ka o kumuha ka ng iba, ng kurso mo ngayon. Ano? Ano ba yung view ko mangyari sa akin in the future, ano. So, yun. So, the viewpoint is important, particularly in decision making and used consistently in the description, analysis, and comparison of the alternatives. So, meron kang viewpoint na pag-aralan mo mabuti kung ano yung maganda sa dalawa. Ano? Yung pag-aralan mo yung negative sa positive side. Ano? Yung dalawang alternatives mo. No? So, use a common unit of measurement. Ano? So, using a common unit of measurement to enumerate as many of the prospective outcomes as possible will make easier the analysis and comparison of the alternatives. So, yun. Magkakaroon ka dapat ng measurement ng yung alternative mo. Ano? Yun nga, pagdating sa economics, engineering economics, pera ang usapan nito. So, yun, dun na may measure yung ating mga decision making ano, sa pera, sa engineering economics, sa project. Lahat naman sa project, kaya sa research proposal, project proposal, ang tinitignan palagi money involved, yung project cost, ano. So, yun ang ano natin, monetary, ano. It is desirable to make directly comparable the maximum numbers of perspective using a monetary unit such as dollars or peso as the common unit of measurement. Yun. So, consider all relevant criteria. Selection of a preferred alternative decision-making requires the use of a criterion or criteria. Yun nga, nung namili ka ng kurso mo, meron ka bang criteria? Nung namili ka ng boarding house, o kaya bumili ka ng cellphone, bumili ka ng sapatos, laptop, ano ba yung mga criteria? So, yun, pinapag-aralan mo yun para maka-select ka ng the best. So, the decision process should consider the outcomes enumerated in the monetary unit na naman. Monetary na naman. Maganda ito, pero mahal. Mura ito, pero madali masira. Ganun. And those expressed in some other unit of measurement are made explicit in a descriptive manner. So, number 6, make uncertainty explicit or clear. Uncertainty is inherent in projecting or estimating the future outcomes of the alternatives and should be recognized in the analysis and comparison. So, yun. So, meron tayong procedure and process in the engineering economy and design process. Yun nga, pag nag-design ka ng project proposal, nag-design ka, nag-come up ka ng project proposal, meron kang idea. So, ito yung mga process, parang sa thesis, proposal o kaya research proposal. Steps, Number 1, problem recognition, formulation, evaluation. Sabi nga nila, para kapag put up ka ng research or project, dapat meron kang problem. Mag-identify ka ng problem in the community, o school, o sa mga ginagawa mo everyday, para formulate ka ng idea. So, the development of the feasible alternatives. Sa engineering ka na analysis, alternative. Halimbawa, example ko ay mahirap. Basta yun. Synthesis of possible solution. Yan. Alternative. So, mag-combine. Combination of synthesis means combine. Put together. Gumawa ka, mag-isip ka ng maraming solution. And combine mo siya. Ito naman sa engineering economic analysis, alternative naman. Ano yung mga possible na way para ma-solve yung problem. Ganun, So, the development of the net cash flow for each alternatives. So, yun. Yung cash flow. Yun ang importante. So, in the next na topic natin, papag-aralan natin yung mga cash flow diagram. So, selection of criterion sa engineering economic analysis. Criteria. Yun na ulit yung kanina. Select ka ng criteria. So, dito naman sa engineering design process, pag-design ng project, analysis, optimization, and evaluation. Yun. So, optimization means to make something as good or as effective as possible. I-optimize. Dito naman, criteria ulit. Select ka ng criteria. The best ulit. The best. Engineering economic analysis procedure. Number 6, select analysis and comparison of the alternatives. Yung tatlo na 3, 4, 5. Pero sa kabila, yun lang. Analysis, optimization, and evaluation. So, parang sinamarize na niya. Selection of the preferred alternative. So, na-select mo na siyang pinaka-the best. Halimbawa, bumili ka ng cellphone nga ulit. Kaya laptop. Ang pinagpilian mong brand ay Asus, Lenovo, Toshiba, tapos i3 lahat. Mamimili ka na doon, Halimbawa, yung Toshiba mahal, pero matibay. Yung Asus, mura. Pero siguro ganun kasing tibay siguro ng Toshiba, yun pa ilang Lenovo. Ayun, Lenovo. Tatlo yung pinagpilian mo, meron kang criteria about each laptop. So, mamimili ka na ngayon, kung ano yung pinaka the best doon na laptop na bibilhin mo. So, yun. So, performance evaluation and post evaluation of the results. So, yun nga, bago mo bibilhin yung laptop siguro, i-evaluate mo muna yung performance niya. Ipa-open mo siya sa store kung okay ba yung performance niya. Pero sa design process, communication ang kailangan do'n. Sa economic analysis, engineering economic analysis, yung evaluate mo yung performance. Yun na. Ito ulit. Parang inulit lang natin yung kanina. Ito pala. So the time frame of engineering economy is the primarily the future. So lahat ng engineering economic study ang tinutumbok niya is the future. So pag nag-solve tayo in the future sa next topic natin, siguro ang parang tinitignan natin future work, yung future income, ano. So therefore, the numbers used in engineering economy are the best estimate of what is expected to occur. So ano yung mangyayari? Halimbawa, nagpautang ka ngayon, ilan yung kikitain ka in the future? Or pag umutang ba ako ngayon, magkano ba yung babayaran ko in the future? Ano. So, in future pala, palagi. So, the estimates and the decision usually involves four essential elements, the cash flows. So, yun, no? Makita nyo, cash flow diagram nandyan. So, times of occurrence of the cash flows, ilang taon ba yan? Interest rates for what time value of money. So, magkano ba yung interest niya pag umutang ako, pag nagpautang ako. So, measure of the economic worth for selecting an alternative. So, yan. Apat na aspect. So, maulit na naman, no? Performing engineering economic study. So, the steps in an engineering economic study are as follows. Identify and understand the problem. Yun nga kanina. Identify the objective of the project. Parang sa research din, objective, problem. Collect relevant, available data and find viable solution alternatives. Yun, mag-collect ka na ng data. Tapos, solution. Ano ba yung solution mo dun sa problem, sa alternatives yun, no? Cash flows, make realistic cash flows estimates. So, mag-estimate ka ulit. Identify an economic measure for critical for decision making. Evaluate each alternative. Consider non-economic factors. Use sensitivity analysis needed. So, select the best alternative. Yun nga, select mo na. Implement the solution na and monitor the results. So, yung implementation na yun, monitoring na sa last part ng project na yun. So, yun. Sa engineering economy, so tatlo yung pag-aaralan nito, cost, time, and quality, So, accomplishing engineering design to meet economic needs and to achieve competitive operations in private and public sector organizations depend on a prudent balance between what is economically acceptable. Yun. However, there is no shortcut available to reach this balance between technical and economic feasibility. So, the word cost has meaning that varying usage, since the cost concepts used in an engineering economy study will depend on the problem or situation and the decision to be made. So, depende yan, the cost. Okay, next. Hirap, So, yun. Bago tayo magko-compute, kailangan natin ng mga cost terminology para malaman natin, So, yan. So, first is the first cost. Ano ba yung first cost? Ito yung initial cost na tinatawag investment cost. Yun nga, pag nagpatayo ka ng bahay, ay building, o yung bumili ka ng isang lupa, pagpapatayo mo ng business mo, yun, first cost mo, Yung design, yung building, yung pag-construct ng building. So, yan, yung first cost, yung investment cost ang tinatawag dyan. So, is the cost of getting an activity started, Ordinarily occurs only once for a given activity. So, minsan lang siya, invest, first cost. Fixed cost naman are those that are unaffected by changes in activity level over a feasible range of operations for the capacity available. Ito yung mga cost, kaya mga binabayaran mo na hindi siya nagbabago. Halimbawa, insurance, o kaya yung renta ng bahay, yung building, kung nagre-rent ka ng building, hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na, isa lang yung nagawa kong, ngayon, upuan. Ngayong araw na to, pwede bang bawasan ko yung renta? Hindi pwedeng gawin. Hindi pwedeng sabihin yun, ano, fixed yun. Halimbawa, sa salon naman, dalawa lang yung pumuntang nagpa-rebond. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na dalawa lang yung nagpa-rebond sa ngayong araw. O kaya yung isang buwan, dalawa lang yung nagpa-rebond yun. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na pwede bang bawasan ko rin yung rent ko sa pwesto kasi dadalawa lang yung nagpa-rebond. Hindi pwedeng gano'n. Fixed yun. Ano? Nasa contract yun. So, yun. Yung mga rent. So, variable cost naman. Ito naman yung cost na para ano ba yun? Cost that are associated, are those associated with an operation that will vary in total with the quantity of output. Yun ang cost of material, labor, fuel consumption. Yun nga. Halimbawa, dito sa ballpen na to, ballpen. Magkano ba ang cost nung ink nito, no? So, siyempre, nung yung manufacturer ng ballpen na to, ang ginawa lang niya dito yung casing, ganun, yung lalagyan ng ink, yung tupa, yung pin, ganun. Pero ink niya, hindi na niya ginanawa to. So, yung variable cost yun. Part lang ng ballpen yung ink, pero iba yung gumawa. So, pagkano kaya yung ink niya? So, yun ang variable cost. Or yung cost of materials, yun. Labor, fuel, consumption, no? So, incremental cost refers to the additional cost or revenue that will result from increasing the output of your system by one or more units. So, example of incremental cost is the cost of producing a barrel of oil and cost of educating a student. So, incremental. Yung tumataas siya, ano. Meron siyang increment, hindi siya, nagbabago siya palagi. Ano. Hindi mo pa masabing fix yung cost ng crudo o yung gasolina, yung oil, ano, o yung, yun na, educating a student, paiba-iba, ano, lalo pag may project. So, operation and maintenance cost, ito yung, alam na natin to, yung mga maintenance or operation, kasi hindi tatakbo ang isang project kung walang operations and maintenance cost. Ano, operations and maintenance cost. So, our cost experienced continually over the useful life of an investment project or venture. Ano. Contains most of the recurring costs associated with operating a business or project. Yung wage, materials, cost of power, yung electricity, yung sweldo ng tao. Excuse. So, direct costs are those that can be reasonably measured and allocated to specific output or work activity. Yung cement. Yun. Sample, cement needed to make hollow blocks. Yun, direct cost yun, yung pagbili mo ng semento. Labor and material cost directly associated with the product, service, or construction activity. Ano. So, indirect cost. So, other terms are overhead cost or burden are those that are difficult to attribute or allocate to a specific output of work activity. Yun. So, yun. Pakibasa na lang ito. Overhead cost. Next. So, sunk cost. Ano ba na sunk cost naman? Ito yung mga cost that has occurred in the past and has no relevance to the estimate of future cost and revenues related to an alternative course of action. So, ito yung mga cost na cannot be recovered and cannot cost spent for the past period. So, yung nagamit mo na noon, ano. So, replace of water pump, example is building in manufacturing plant, spend in automobile, ano yung pangbili mo ng, halimbawa, nasira yung automobile mo, yung sasakyan mo. Yun ang sunk cost na tinatawag. Hindi mo na siya makire-recover, ano. So, opportunity cost is the cost of the best rejected foregone opportunity and is often hidden or implied. So, potential benefit acquired when an alternative is selected. Limawa, hindi ka nag-aral ng 4 years, sabihin mo, ipunin ko na lang yung perang pang tuition ko, yung perang baon ko. Yun ang opportunity cost. Yun ang magkano ba ang maiipon mo after 4 years. Yun ang opportunity cost. Yung opportunity mong mag-aral, yung gagastusin mo doon, yun ang doon. Iniipon mo siya, hindi ka nag-aral. Yun ang opportunity cost na tinatawag. So, working capital, ito naman. refers to the funds required for current assets other than fixed assets such as equipment, facilities, and etc. that are needed for the start and subsequent support of operation activities. Yun yung working capital. Yung nasayo. No? Capital, ayan, example, capital for inventory of products and services, capital for spare parts, tools, trained personnel for maintenance activities. Ano? So, ano naman yung general economic environment? Sino ba yung nakikinabang? Sino ba sila? Sino ba yung producer? Sino ba yung consumer? Consumer and producer goods and services. Consumer goods and services are those products or services that are directly used by people to satisfy their wants. So, ito yung mga product, consumer goods para ma-satisfy natin yung kailangan natin ma-satisfy. Halimbawa, yun nga, bibili ka ng cellphone, okay, kakain ka sa Jollibee, yung consumer goods mga yun. So, food, clothing, home cars, television sets, haircuts, movies, at marami pa. Medical services are examples. So, the producers of consumer goods and services must be aware of and are subject to the changing wants of the people to whom their products are sold. So, alam nila dapat yung producer ng goods, ano yung kailangan ng tao, everyday. O lalo ngayong pandemic, ano bang kailangan natin ngayon? Face shield, face mask, vitamins. Yan, So, the demand for such goods and services is directly related to people and many in cases may be determined with considerable certainty. Ano naman yung producer goods and services? Producer goods and services are used to produce consumer goods and services or other goods. Yun nga. Yun ba yung machine tools, factory buildings, buses, and farm machinery are example. Yun. Mga producer goods and services. Ito yung mga gamit para may produce mo isang product. Halimbawa yung machine tools para sa furniture making. Ano ba yung kailangan mo sa furniture making? Machines. Ano ba yung kailangan mo sa pag-produce ng mga canned goods? Factory. Ano bang kailangan mo para mapunta yung mga empleyado sa, halimbawa ngayong pandemic nga, ano bang kailangan mo para makapunta yung mga empleyado mo sa factory? Bus. Sakyan, So, the amount of producer goods needed are determined indirectly by the amount of consumer goods or services that are demanded by people. Depende yun sa dami ng demand. So, measures of economic worth. Ano naman to? Goods and services are produced and desired because directly they have utility. So, ano yung utility? So, utility is the power to satisfy human wants and needs. So, thus, they may be used or consumed directly. Or may be used to produce other goods. Yun nga. Magpuproduce ka ng other goods. Bibili ka ng, yun nga, yung kanina, yung paggawa furniture maker ka. Ano yung kailangan mo? Utility, Ano ba yung mga utility na yun? Yun nga. Pintor, siguro, varnish, sander, yung pangpakinis, electric planer. So, the utility most commonly is measured in terms of value, expressed in some medium exchange as the price that must be paid to obtain particular item. Iron to make rice or blades. So, yun. Sa paggawa ng pang-ahit, kailangan? Iron or lumber into furniture. Okay, next. Ito naman. Necessities versus luxury. So, anong kailangan ano ba yung necessity? Ano ba yung kailangan? So, nakita nyo sa picture, yung lemonade yaw niya is 25 cents. 25 cents lang, Yung isa naman, ang pangalan niya is Long Island Iced Tea. Mas social, $4. Pero pares lang sila ng lasa niyan, Nakita nyo, mas maraming pumila sa Long Island Iced Tea ba yan? $4. Social, pangalan. Pero sa lemonade, 25 cents. Walang pumila, ano. So, economic status is an important factor in one's views regarding luxuries and necessities. So, most goods and services may consider necessities in one person but luxuries to others. Yun nga, example, tiga salvation ka lang din sa Bayambong, no? Tiga salvation ka lang, nag-aaral ka. Magpapabili ka ba ng NMAX? Pwede ka namang maglakad, pwede ka namang mag-tricycle. And then, yun, pag bumili ka ng NMAX, nagpabili ka, ibig sabihin, luxury na yun, hindi na necessity. Pero kung ikaw ay taga-bagabag, pumapasok ka ng trabaho everyday, nata-traffic ka, wala kang sasakyan, bumili ka ng sasakyan ngayon, considered ba yung luxury or necessity? O, di ba? Necessity yun. Depende yun sa point of view ng tao. Example ulit, sa Cagayan, sa Tuguegarao, sobrang init. Nagpa-aircon nga ngayon. May asthma yung anak mo, nagpa-aircon. Kailangan kasi ng asthmatic na tao yung aircon, yung malamig. Ayaw niya ng sobrang mainit. Considered ba yun na luxury? Hindi. Kasi necessity na yun. Depende yun sa point of view ng tao. Kung luxury ba siya o necessity. Yun. Depende yan. The classification of goods and services into luxuries and necessities is less easy for producer goods than for consumer goods. So there is a relationship between the price that must be paid and the quantity that will be demanded or purchased. Yun. So, yun. Ito na. Malapit na tayo mag-compute. So, price and demand. So, yung P is the price. Price. So, as the selling price P is increase, pag tumataas yung presyo ng isang bagay, halimbawa, cellphone, mataas siya, halimbawa 20,000, marami kayong bibili. Yung demand, ibig sabihin yung demand, yung bumibili, demand. So, there will be less demand. Malit lang siya, Pero pag yung Oppo, yung Reno, sabihin natin yung Reno, 20,000, at the first na release niya, 20,000, konti lang yung bibili. After 1 month kaya, naging 5,000, sigurado yan. Sold out lahat yung Reno na yan. 5,000 lang. Maraming demand na, So, nakikita nyo, pababa siya, Nasa taas yung P, mataas siya, pero yung demand, maliit, Nakikita nyo kung titingnan nyo dun sa module na sinend ko sa Facebook, Nakikita nyo, malit lang bibili, yung bibili, maliit lang siya, So, for the product, and as the selling price decrease, yung selling price lilit siya, mas lalaki naman yung kanyang demand, So, yun, nakita nyo, negative slope siya, hindi, pababa siya. So, to MX minus B dapat yan, Yun, so, dito naman, P is equal to A minus BD, yan. So, sa susunod, magko-compute tayo. So, dito ko in-explain na, So, the extent to which price, yung elasticity, the extent to which price changes influence demand varies according to the elasticity of the demand. Yun na, yung kamatis. Halimbawa, ngayong tag-ulan, ang kamatis ngayon, umabot na tatang 100 per kilo. Mahal, mahal. 1 kilo, 100 pesos. Bili mo na lang ng karne o kaya galunggong. So, konti lang yung bibili. Pero pag umabot ng 5 pesos yung presyo niya, marami kayong bibili, magbibili kayo ng isang truck. Wala, kasi hindi masyadong kailangan, Hindi wala masyadong impact yun sa tao yung 5 pesos. Walang bibili. Kaya makita nyo sa picture na sinend ko ay nandito. Sorry, hindi ko nalagay na dyan sa module na binigay ko, Maliit lang yung demand, yung bibili yung consumer, So, yun yung elasticity niya, Pero pag yung Reno nga, di ba? Sabi ko, pag yung Reno, yung initial price is 20,000, maliit pa lang yung bibili, Kita nyo? Siguro 3, 4 lang yung bibili. Pero pag Bumaba siya ng 5,000 sigurado pati ako bibili na rin ako. Ayun, oh, dami na siguro lahat tayo naka-Reno, Oppo Reno na tayo, ano, yun. Yun ang kanyang elasticity. Graph, ano, the demand for a product is said to be elastic when a decrease in selling price results in a considerable increase in sale, ano. Pag nag-decrease yung price, madadami yung bibili, ano, demand. So, if a change in selling price produces little or no effect on demand, the demand is elastic, ano. So, yun nga, yung kamatis, elastic siya. Hindi siya masyadong demand na kaya ano mo, kahit ipamigay mo na, kahit na sige pamigay mo na, wala siyang bearing na sa tao, ano. So, competition, meron tayong tatlong klase ng competition. Yung perfect competition, monopoly, and oligopoly. Ano yung may pagkakaiba? So, perfect competition occurs in a situation in which any given product is supplied by a large number of vendors and there's no restriction on additional vendors entering the market. Ano? O yung parang sa buko pie, sa tuwaw, sa bagabag. Ayun, buko pie lahat yun. Walang restriction, walang nagbabawal sa yung magtinda ng buko pie din. Halimbawa rin sa dito ata yun. Sa bilihan ng mga walis tambo. Walang nagbabawal kahit tabi-tabi kayong magtinda lahat ng walis tambo. Walang nagbabawal. So, perfect yun. Perfect competition ang tawag doon. May freedom yung bawat isa. Monopoly naman, so exists when a unique product or services is available from a single vendor. Isa lang, monopoly. And that vendor can prevent entry of all others into the market. So, isa lang, kaya niyang pigilan yung pagpasok ng ibang nagtitinda o kaya yung competitor niya. O yun, sabi niya, oy, bawal kang dito pumasok, sa akin lang, ganun. Halimbawa, example ko lang sa Tuigero ata yun. Napansin ko lang kasi, isa lang yung design ng tricycle nila doon. So, ang alam ko lang siguro, isa lang yung nag-design doon. Wala nang pinapasok na iba. Ganun yung yung monopoly, pinigilan niya siguro yung pagpasok ng ibang design doon sa Tuigero. Kaya walang pumasok, no? So, the buyer is at the complete mercy of the vendor in terms of the availability and price of the product, ano? So, kaya niya. Oligopoly naman, next. Exists when are so few suppliers of the product or service that the action by one will almost inevitably result in similar action by the others. So, yun. Halimbawa, doon sa isang munisipyo o lugar, tatlo yung gasolina doon, Petron, Shell, siguro, gano'n. Nag-uusap-usap yung tatlo na yan. Sabi nila, pare, ganito lang yung presyo natin sa gasolina, sa crudo. Pare-pare sila, no? Pwede nilang control yung presyo, ganun. Ang oligopoly, pwede nilang i-control. Parang si PLDT, ganyan, si Globe. Pwede nilang i-control yung product nila, yung presyo, no? So, hanggang doon na lang muna. Magko-compute tayo siguro sunod. Yan, marami tayong problem dito. Lahat ito kinuha ko sa reviewer. Bye-bye. Good night.
Who's the one who can rise above? Take a chance, do it all for love and no regrets. Up ahead there's an open door and I gotta find what I'm looking for and I'm on my way. Well, time moves on and the days go by, but the sun don't set on the stars tonight, and I spread my wings. My head's in the clouds with my feet on the ground, my aim held high and I'm moving on. My time is now to make all my dreams come true, to let all the light shine through, so I can never rest till the victory's won, and it's alright. I light 'em up and I'll take 'em down, and I feel the rush at the speed of sound. I'll find a way to make all my dreams come true, to let all the light shine through, so I can be everything I know that I could be, to find all the strength inside. Baby, just watch me fly. Now I have all I need to find the best in me. Well, isn't it time I open my mind and just believe? And it could all come down to this very moment. Yeah. When I leave the ground, you can watch me spread my wings and fly away, to make all my dreams come true, to let all the light shine through, so I can be everything I know that I could be, to find all the strength inside.